of July. And we are so happy to have one of our greatest friends, a Chicago guy, to be exact, who serves some really delicious food. He goes by LJM for people that knows him, you know. Uh, go by Big Daddy for other people who know him. The Big Cat for even more people that know him, Oh, we're gonna have to give him a hard time this whole trip here. But welcome everybody, our good friend Chef Lamar Moore. Chef, what's happening?
What's up, man?
Welcome,
Thank you guys for having
welcome
me.
to Roots, Heart, and
So, yep.
yes, baby. So, welcome, Chef Lamar. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. You?
We are so stoked to have you with us. We're, you know, I got to give people a little background of Chef Lamar. He's got a resume the length of my two arms.
Oh wow.
Trying to
Okay.
keep with y'all, man.
Oh, come on, bro.
Chef Lamar, born and raised in South Side of Chicago. So that's your peoples right there, man.
Yeah, that's my people, right?
He began showing his love for the culinary arts at the age of 8. Growing up in a large family, Moore learned the importance of cooking with love. Isn't that fitting?
Right.
Isn't that fitting?
A little bit.
Huh?
A little bit, yeah.
Taking care of people and giving back to those less fortunate. His grandmother was extremely influential to his culinary journey. Hailing from Mississippi, she passed on a great appreciation of Southern food and culture to her grandson, as well as the importance of cooking from the soul. From the soul.
Uh
Yes. So,
All up in here.
oh.
so we're going to end there, and I'm going to let Chef Lamar introduce himself. Ladies and gentlemen, our good friend, Chef Lamar.
Thanks. First of all, it's a pleasure having this conversation with you. Some living legends here on this platform. So, as you mentioned, I mean, been in the industry a little bit over 24 years, a little bit.
A little bit, right?
Um, yeah, a little bit. Currently, still on the South Side. Operate a restaurant, Brownsville Winery in the heart of Brownsville on the South Side. Man, I've traveled quite a bit. I've done Vegas. I've done California, Texas, overseas, Peru, you name it. I've kind of had my hands in quite a few different cuisines, some stadiums, hotels. It's been such an awesome experience and ride, over the last 24 years and definitely over the last, 4 years. We've all, trying to re-evolve as to what COVID has either took away or what we learned from it and grew from it. So
Hmm.
very excited to sit here and and have a great conversation with these two esteemed chefs about what we do, especially in our own blackness. So and congrats on this latest book too, man. It's always good to
Uh,
see you guys
Appreciate it.
grow and Stephan, and you just killing it in this industry too. Every time I turn around, you on my damn social media somewhere, man. So I try to keep up with y'all.
just
Good.
trying, man. Just trying to do. I you guys put me in the same realm as both of you, and that's the compliment that I will take with pleasure.
Yes, for sure, sure. Well, definitely deserved.
So South Side. I got to get
Yeah,
them first. Yeah, I got to talk about the
I'll
South
let you
Side of
go first. I'll
Chicago.
let you go
Yeah,
first.
I have to talk about the South Side of Chicago, being Chicago and myself. Which high school did you go to?
Oh God, I went to Von Stupid up north.
Oh, Von Steuben. Okay. Oh, so
I went to Von
no wonder
Stupid.
the glasses, and no wonder the astuteness about yourself. Going to Von Steuben, which is one of the best high schools in Chicago. I went to Hyde Park myself, but one thing that always struck me about your food, that there's a sensibility of home, of place. Every time we eat your dishes, but there's this sophistication and technique and things like that comes across well. And it's me, Stefan, were there about a month ago, or about a little, maybe 6 weeks ago, and we probably ate the whole menu. I know my credit card's still on fire, from as much food as we ate. But really, where did you get these techniques from? What's your background in developing your cuisine?
I was very fortunate to go to Cordon Bleu here in Chicago. So I think we all know it. Culinary school gives you, that background and that balance, and also the discipline. So I took a lot of it there, and then, from there I moved to California for 10 years, and I've been fortunate even now in my career to, have chefs that you watch what they do, you watch how they cook, You learn different techniques in kitchens. I mean, like with you guys and Stefan, I mean, I think before you guys came to the restaurant, last time I saw you, we were cooking at an event.
Uh-oh. I think we lost Lamar.
Chef
He'll jump
Lamar
back
will
up.
be back. Chef Lamar
Yeah.
will be back. But Chef Todd,
Yes.
it's gotta be really special to have not only a conversation with such a chef like Lamar, but the fact that you guys are both from Chicago.
I mean, Chicago, of course, produced some of the best culinarians in the world. I would not say that. It's no wonder that, when Lamar gets back, we'll talk about the Beard Awards being in Chicago, where it should be, in its rightful place. One of the most beautiful architectural cities in the world. So, to talk about Chicago and talk about food, I think those two things go synonymous. So to really have him back on there he is. He's back, with us. We're just talking about Chicago and how great it is, to be there and eat food and me being from Chicago and you from there. And Stefan saying his Haitian roots when he came to Chicago
And,
as
and, and
as
I have to
well.
tell you,
Right?
guys, being in Chicago for the very first time and seeing the statue of Jean-Baptiste Point de Sable, and seeing the you know the statue of Jean-Baptiste Point de Sable, the founder of the city of Chicago, that was something very special to me, man.
I mean, it's really great, when, growing up as a kid to see Lakeshore Drive being, one thing, and then seeing Lakeshore Drive change, to that famous name of the Sable, and everything like that, and then having friends from high school send me pictures of the Juneteenth celebration at the DeSable Museum. It really speaks to, the cultural heritage that you talk about. Lamar, are you back? Are you back
Yeah,
with us?
yeah. Sorry, but I don't know why I
So
keep jumping
I have
off.
a quick question for the both of you.
Okay.
Talking about Juneteenth,
Yeah.
there was a post that a friend of mine who owns one of the biggest Haitian platforms, about Haiti and for Haiti, and on the internet, and he posted, that we all as Haitians as well should be celebrating Juneteenth, and he got a level of backlash that was absolutely ridiculous. Um, and it hurts me to see that,
Mm.
because we are all intertwined in our history. We are all intertwined in Black history. Um, you know, uh, you know, I know it's specifically an African American celebration, but it's also a Black celebration, in my opinion. So I wanted to get you guys' take on that.
Well, I'll tell
Lamar,
you.
you go first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that it's so interesting you brought that up. Something we talk about, definitely in Chicago being a big city. I think we have found ways to really, celebrate what Juneteenth, means to us and why that day is so significant. Obviously, nationally, they have, finally come to the conclusion that they consider it a holiday and give, those days off. But I think, we're finding those other ways to reintroduce what the history is behind it and why we do, not just actually having a day off. And then the integration now, to your point, of trying to find out the different cultures and what that means to not just, African American of color, but also Haitians and, all those other ethnicities that are super connected to us. And that's why I think it's so cool that, like, again, when we travel and cook, I mean, you look at what, Kwame's been able to do in New York and what he's doing in DC with his restaurant and, how he cooks, and look at, Greg Gorday and, from his Haitian roots and what he's doing out, his restaurant in Portland. And he's able to kind of, dot those I's and cross the T's and yourself, what you bring to the table too from their heritage. It gives us, insight of what it is we don't know. And I think the more and more outside of us, talk about the history, that's a lot of reason why we cook. We cook from history and we cook, to introduce what history, means to us and why we're doing that. And I think Juneteenth, falls right in that same echelon.
To answer your question, Stefan, which was a great question, you took it off my list, so that's great that you segued very well here. You're becoming a real astute professional on this
Listen,
podcast.
man, I'm learning from you, Papa. I'm learning from you,
That's
man.
funny.
I am learning from my brother.
But the interesting thing though is there a Juneteenth without the Haitian Revolution? Or without the Louisiana Purchase, without all those things happening. So, we are intertwined, when you come to that. And really when we talk about culturally, what are we arguing about? Who's blacker than who? Who's red beans rice is better than who? I mean, who's gumbo or okra is better than who? I mean, colorism has to stop in our community. And that's really what we're talking about here. We're talking about this sense of that we should not be competing about who suffered the most at this point in time. We should be competing about whose food is the most delicious, whose recipe is the most tight, whose restaurants on top and things like that. And those things, being beat up for saying that he should celebrate them, that's like me saying not celebrating Haiti, or we're not celebrating PR, Puerto Rican Day, or me not celebrating, Mexican Independence Day. It's we're encompass all that. So to say that we're not part of it, I think that's really really misleading.
I had the real great pleasure of meeting Chef Lamar in South Carolina, um,
Mm,
and at the Food and Wine Festival. And one of the things that I he had this. I mean, let me tell you, man, he's got the finest, most delicious bacon jam you have ever freaking
okay.
tasted, man. Okay, so he had this burger and this bacon jam, but what I noticed about him is not only did he we very quickly connected, him and I, um, um, you know, we on a whim, but at the same time he was never, you know, not wanting to share his beautiful recipe, and also I saw how meticulous he works. So
Mm,
chef, you know, and you see passion in the way he works. You see soul in the way he works. So chef, what drives you, first of all, to work a certain way, but also, um, and I'll ask the question later about the Brownsville Winery, because I got tons of questions. But what drives you to really be so on point?
on point. Oh man, same word, right?
Well, I think, I mean, you both just said it. I mean, in this culinary industry, we all strive for perfection. It's very difficult to do that to a degree. I think that our technique and our time will always precede ourselves because we grew up in, very disciplined kitchens. We've had disciplined chefs that have trained us and worked beside us. And, when you're doing events too, just specifically that when you talk about, it's an opportunity to show people what you're doing away from your home and get them to get excited about what you're doing. And hopefully, if they when they're making their trips, that they find you when you're at your home. I think the discipline comes from and the passion is because, once we start cooking in our craft, nothing else around us, bothers us. It's us in that saute pan, us in that grill, us and, that knife that we have chosen to use for that day. We have a echelon of tools that we use and, we wear that with a veil of honor. I mean, we definitely owe it us. We grew up in the scene where white coats was a privilege to wear. Long aprons was a privilege to
Mm.
have, and I think I tell a lot of my cooks now. We don't do this as much anymore. But when an opportunity is necessary, I'll step in a white coat in a heartbeat. And it's creased down to the T because that's the discipline that we grew in, and you never lose that tenacity, that discipline every day when you step in the kitchen, no matter whose kitchen it is.
So we're on the Roots Heart Soul podcast with Chef Stephan, Todd Richards here, and of course the great Chef Lamar Moore. And we were just resetting here a little bit. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're all here now. And one question that I always, burning question that I have to ask is about Chicago in general and the coming of the James Beard Awards to Chicago, leaving New York, leaving the Big Apple and coming to Chicago and just making Chicago more of the culinary mecca, which I always thought it was. I mean, we had the best pizza, even though that's not floppy like New York. We had the best Chinese food, some of the best fried fish you ever had, Blue Island. But why is Chicago such just a hotbed of great chefs and great delicious food?
I think we have been definitely fortunate to have, James Brewer's here, and I think I recently extended to 2028.
28, yes, you're correct. 28.
It has been, I will tell you, for me, I want to be real honest with you. If this was like, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, you couldn't ask me to do anything with JBF. You just couldn't. I don't think that we as, blacks and browns had really a face, with the James Beard Foundation, or had an opportunity to really experience what that's been like over the last 3 years of my personal career. I've done so much with the foundation educationally, and being able to sit at the awards the last 3 years and participate in the last 3, 4 years has been such an honorable experience to be able to do that. I've seen more of us, across the nation, which I think is impressive and amazing, to honor and have so many awards. And this year I saw a lot of our restaurants and sister and brother restaurants that have had some involvement in what the foundation has allowed us to do, which has been great. And then it becomes even more inspiring. I've never been nominated, but now it's something that I look forward to, trying to push and achieve. So when Stephan, when you ask what that drive is, it's like when you don't see it, you don't push for it. But now you have an opportunity to see it, and you're like, all right, well, what does it take for me to put myself and my team, in that realm? And now I'm surrounded with a team at Brownsville Winery where we have an opportunity to push forward in that. And now I continue also the mentorship behind that too, because my team, wants to be mentored. They're young, they're agile, they're aggressive. They want to be a part of a lot of different things. And now I'm starting to feel like the elder, because I'm like, I remember when I was in my, late 20s, thinking I was as good as I was. And now here I am in my early 40s and realizing I wasn't as good as I thought I was. So,
right. Just Stephan, let me do a follow-up question right quick, to that, because Chef Lamar talks about being nominated, and I feel like Susan Lucci. I think I've been nominated. I think Marcus might have been Sampson might be nominated more than me, but he's won. I've been nominated several times. I haven't gotten across the finish line, but there's another really great awards there. That's it's in New York, it's in Chicago, just hit Atlanta, in LA, and that's Michelin. And having Michelin there as well. So Chicago to me is almost a hotbed, because you had the awards there. James Beard Awards there. You have Michelin there. Who has been a mainstay there. And you talk about pressure. I think what you're kind of alluding to of being not only a locally recognized chef, a national recognized chef, and now an international recognized chef. How do you deal with that pressure of cooking, knowing that the world is looking at you from a fine microscope?
Honestly, it's hard, and it gets harder because you almost have. Well, I know, me personally, there are three chips, right? The first one is, can I still perform at a high level? When I look at year by year, I mean, respectfully, our talent of who we are, it declines. We don't talk about that much as we probably should in some cases, but our talent declines. I was on a line a couple weeks ago, and I looked, and I was like, man, I was dog tired. My back was kicking me, my feet was kicking me. I rarely experienced that, but I can still cook. And then one of my cooks, then one day I had an amazing day because I cooked on the line with him, and he was like, man, you like the Michael Jordan in Game 6. And I was like, I don't take pride in that. He's like, well, why? I said, because I need you to be able to do that. And I'm understanding that, that has now changed. But, when people come into the restaurant, I want them to experience food at the highest level. So that's my chip, because I have to understand that, me being in front of the food is exactly that. It's being in front of it, not in it. And so trying to now turn it over to the next generation has been very challenging, because, a lot of our cooks, they don't really cook like we do, or they don't really understand those techniques and, the long span. We could cook on the line and be proud. Oh, we just did 1,000 covers. Hell, you could barely get a restaurant to even do that in a week in most cases. We
Yeah.
don't do it much, per se. So, and understanding like how can you withstand those turns and still be consistent. Are you prepping right? Are you tasting your food right? What happens the day that you can't taste the food? Can your number two do it? Can your number three do it? Or then when the kitchen's clicking, now your front of house is not clicking. Then, like I said, you travel and do an event. Are you representing yourself, well with the following that you have, and then trying to continuously recapitulate on the following. And now that social media is just so granular, it's as good as I am. It's still hard to keep up with. Every time you think you got a leg, and then here comes TikTok, and I'm like, I
Right.
don't get it. But you have to be on it to have some relevance in the younger generation because they all over it,
So
and then also doing your face to face. So it's hard.
absolutely. So I'm going to follow up with that with this conversation, but I have a question for you before, for the both of you actually. A few years back, it's great that James Beard is starting to really diversify itself, and black and brown chefs are now looking forward to the opportunity to even be nominated. So that's an awesome thing. um, and shooting for the stars with Michelin is even bigger. But some of us chefs, as good as we think we are, we're not that good to be on the Michelin star stage or even on the James Beard star, stage. But a few years ago, I had this. I brought up this conversation. I brought this conversation with a very good friend of mine, Colleen Vincent, which both of you knows,
Mm.
about having an award event or an organization that stand behind black and brown chefs, and also gives them, it's like the BET Awards, right? So you have the BET Awards that really recognizes black artists, and then you have the other awards. That's also that every artist is looking forward to. And how great would it be to have a BT Chef Awards, something of that nature, that celebrates black and brown chefs around the world.
So if you want to go first, or you want me to go?
I mean, I'll go. I think that brings a lot of greatness. I mean, I'm sure someone talked about it. I feel like, especially with COVID, we're now starting to put in play things that conversations that have been had and just haven't been pushed forward. But that doesn't mean they put a plug on it because it takes us 2 to 3 years before our industry changes, and then it takes another 2 3 years for people to catch up with it. Still, we do. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so I think that would be something super cool. A lot of us chefs get an opportunity to go out to BET Awards, but like you said, having something culinarily. Because when I think of BET and I think of Essence, I've done things in the past in Essence. I'm sure you guys have too as well. I mean, even with that, like why not award chefs and from that Essence point of view, I think there's a lot more that can be tapped into for what we bring to the table that could be talked about but not really put in fruition.
Stefan, great question.
Mhm.
I mean, really great question for a Roots Heart Soul podcast. Um, for me, there's two different buckets that we got to look at. One is profitability. How do we make it profitable? Because we, as we operate restaurants. We're already in a nonprofit business sometimes. Until we get everything going. But also, I don't think they're singular. I think they have to go in the same circle at the same time, because we all should be striving for 3-star Michelin. We should all be striving for Beard Awards. We all should be striving for neighborhood awards too. How we get back in our community. What kind of things are we building? Community gardens and so, supporting the infrastructure in our community. And I think really what you're talking about is more infrastructure to get to that next level of awards where the real dollars can come in. But we need sponsors. I mean, and really, we have to tell our story a little bit better than other people have been telling our culinary story better than ourselves. I look at, and I always say this. I look at what David Chang did for Korean food, where Korean food was not on any Michelin, restaurant guide or anything like that. He come along, he keeps pounding the story, and everyone's head. Next thing you know, he has a show. There's a whole bunch of shows, Cooking Raw, all these things happen, and then Korean food just catapulted. In every Michelin guide, there's these type of restaurants there. And so there's an inherent responsibility that not only do you get nominated, not only do you win, but who's the next person. I think that's what Chef Lamar, talked about, about being on the line. Hey, yeah, you telling me I'm Jordan? Well, I know I'm Jordan. I don't need you to tell me that, but well, who are you? What is your legacy? And I always tell, I want any cook that cooks with me to be better than me. That's all I want. And I know the legacy continues. I'm going to reset us right quick, Chef Stephan. We're on Roots Heart Soul podcast. Chef Todd Rich is here, Chef Stephan, and then we have the great Chef Lamar Moore out of Chicago here. Chef Stephan, go ahead, give us another question here. You rolling tonight, bro?
Hey man, I'm trying to do the do.
Right.
I'm trying to bring some soul into the Roots Heart.
Right.
No, but Chef Lamar, you touched on something. Being in that kitchen, and this whole week I've been stuck. In Orlando, redeveloping the menu for this restaurant. And I see, and I have a team of young cooks. They're all young. They're all probably 20 years younger than me. And I'm also already struggling with.
Wait. 20 years younger than you could be 40. So you might
That part.
have been 30.
Listen, I'm 30, 52 this year, man. I'm 30, 52 this year, and I'm going to tell you, even with the difficulties that I have in my mobility, I still love being on that line. But what I love more than being on that line is teaching these guys the techniques that I know, teaching these guys how to be efficient in the kitchen, how to shorten the time that they get to put something together, but also teaching them flavors, teaching them how to taste everything, how to know the difference between this one and that one, and I'm going to tell you, it is so gratifying when I see these kids. They want to learn. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time with them to make them better than me.
Mm.
So as a chef, that's all you want is to translate what you know and what you love into somebody else's, and that and like you said, these young cats, I don't think they understand what that means. So
Yeah.
Bronzeville Winery, because I got to tell you, man.
Right. Oh,
Chef Todd, we ate.
Right.
We did eat the whole menu. We did eat the whole menu, and let me tell you, everything we ate was off the chain.
I
How did
appreciate
that come
that.
about? How did that come about? What was the thought process behind it? What's the vision? What's the what story are you trying to tell?
Well, I'm gonna literally take a page out of your book, Todd, and then I'm gonna take a page. I mean, it's roots and
Okay.
soul. You know what I mean? And it's for real. It's like, you know, well, first of all, I tell people it's such a great opportunity to be able to do what we do and know that, we have cooked in downtown areas, more, affluent areas where people make the assumption, okay, this is where the money is, what we do. And I'm excited at doing this on the South Side in a small restaurant. That's the first thing. The second thing is that, it took me, and I think that's where, trying to explain to the younger cooks, and you guys will know this, for a long time, we cooked everybody else's food. So now to be able to have the expression of what we call our food and literally garner what that is. And I mean, Stefan, you just said it, you talk about the flavors. I teach my cooks to cook from the bottom of the pan up, and flavors is not about salt and pepper. That's accentuate what you've already built. And that's what we strive to do at the restaurant, from the bar all the way down to the food. A lot of the drinks that we make, those syrups and stuff are made out of the kitchen. And it's extending and I tell people, like, we cook from right here because our heart is right there. So that's where, a lot of that love and a lot of that flavor comes from. And that's something that we want to continue to do. We're still young in this restaurant, it's 2 years and counting, and I'm doing that because, At one point you had restaurants 5, 6, 7 years now, and now when you hit that 2 year mark, you're like, okay, you've hit a different hump. Once you get to your third and your fourth year, hopefully, then you're really, really starting to hit a stride. That's what I'm hoping to achieve.
Chef Lamar, you really bring up a couple points that I really want to touch on. We got about 10 more minutes here, but I really want to, touch on these 2 points. One is that it's a new restaurant, and most people don't understand the work it takes to open a new restaurant. And secondly, the perseverance you have to be open, 2 years. Everyone knows. I mean, well, let me back up. Everyone who's been in the business knows that you have 3 years, to make it in a restaurant. Everyone who's never been in this business comes to the restaurant and then they find out in year 3 they got to shut down. But what kind of thought process did you have in writing the menu, hiring the staff? Wait. So let me give you a little pretense here, Lamar. So last week I got on Stephan because he's single. He's a single man. I was like, you need to go back up to Lamar's restaurant because he got some of the best looking staff in the city of Chicago. So
No kidding. No kidding.
And I can say this honestly because my wife, we went to high school together. So Chicago makes some of the most beautiful women in the world. You know, but what kind of thought process did you go with food, hiring the staff, and things like that in order to have that longevity, get from from opening doors to year 1 to year 2 and beyond that?
Well, one, we're big on hiring people from the neighborhood. Myself, the two owners, they're close by in the neighborhood, so we really, building a space on that. I think the kitchen, like to be transparent, the kitchen's still in the works. I will say with the front too. We had some standing employees that have been there for a while, which is great. But we're still trying to find a few extra pieces that makes the groove a little bit different. And what I mean by that is like I want to continue to mix some super experienced people with some young guns and some ones that want to learn and grow up because that adds that adds balance to your performer when you're trying to make
Right.
money. And
Right.
the other thing too is, you want to give some people opportunity to really grow under people. I feel like, my experience is one thing, my chef experience is another one. I got two cooks, that cook very, very differently, but they bring some value to the table. Some of my servers work 2 jobs, or maybe 3, so they bring about a different experience. But what I would tell you, what I appreciate most about this group is that it is one of the most amazing families that I could have ever appreciated. And one of the reasons why I say that, like, we just did an outside event. We cooked for an amazing brand that everyone should know about. It's Uncle Nearest. Fawn was here doing her book tour, and so they asked us. They were originally going to come to the restaurant. They asked us to go to the Cyber Museum, which is historic too. So I took half my team, front and back, to experience this moment, and we just grooved. Like there wasn't a hiccup. Whatever we need to do, we did. We had to build a kitchen to figure it out. We had to build a bar. Like we literally took the restaurant out of the restaurant, and it was the first time I've done that, in an all black, scenario, and it was super amazing. I have an event coming up this week, and I'm doing the same thing. So to your point, is the culture is really, really expanding on the culture of why we do what we do, and why it's important to continue to do what we're doing. And Brownsville Winery has been such a flagship, to be able to do that, and we hope to continue that growth.
So
Chef
having
Stephan,
so again,
let
I'm gonna bring this question back.
Chef
Having
Stephan, let me set you up right quick, okay? I'm gonna set you up right quick. I just want to because he talked about Uncle Nearest, and we got to give a shout out to Uncle Nearest, Stephan, Weaver, and Keith. $1.2 billion evaluation for their
oh my
company.
God,
The single largest landowner in Tennessee. You know, when we first, had them come into One Food South, with 4 course tasting menu in the airport, and I just wanted to say, like, what Lamar is talking about is really Black excellence. And so, Chef Stephan, go ahead and ask your question, but I just wanted to quantify what Lamar was
no.
saying.
This is really, really important that we do
Yeah.
because how many of these Black entrepreneurs and a woman on top of that doing what she's done in such a short amount of time.
1.2 billion is like,
that is absolutely amazing.
right.
So again, Chef Lamar, one of the things that I notice, and 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 because I pay attention to the little details, is the fact that you have the 2 owners, your partners, they're both Black as well. So, you know, how is that synergy working? What does it take to have this kind of synergy to make a restaurant successful? But also, how did the whole Brownsville Winery came about?
I mean, well, first, to have the conversation, nothing is ever easy. It's being able to understand what each other wants, which we all want the same goal, and that's to have a successful restaurant. I mean, to unpack it, like, so Cecilia Cuff is like probably one of the most amazing Black women entrepreneurs I've ever met in my entire life. She is a beast at what she does. She has a restaurant in New Mexico. She just understands operations like crazy.
Wow.
We can run that place. We've done a bunch of parties together, a bunch of events on site, off site. Like, she just gets it. We can literally set the pace and then execute. We've done it so flawlessly well, and it's really cool to get with somebody that just like they click. And for chefs, it's hard for us to know and trust what someone's going to do in the front. But like, I know that we get in front of the event. Like, I say this and this makes sense to share. We can go back and forth, and we've done some incredible stuff that probably wouldn't have thought we were going to pull off. And then you have Eric, who's very embedded in the community. Owns a store in Silver Room. Just coming off last year, we did a Silver Room Block Party, which was amazing, and the last one that we're doing. But going into a different style of event next year, we have like this tack for what we want to do, and you got music and food and service that literally goes together hand in hand, and we're able to really gel and put that together in a way where there is some sense of harmony. And when we step together in an event or step together in a restaurant's banging and grooving. Like, to be honest with you, I really understood it when it was Christmas and New Year's of last year, actually New Year's Eve. Eric had 3 or 4 DJs rotating in and out. CC's was in the front with the front of the house. What's her nickname called CC? And she had all the service staff like grooving, and we made some amazing food and drinks. I mean, we just killed it. And then to flip the room after service and turn into a after party atmosphere. I've done that with companies, but to do it for us and with us, like, it was like super dope. So to your point, it's like it's really good to see that there are us that can execute on a high level. We keep doing it in so many different facets.
So it's going to lead me to my final question for you. I know, Chef, we appreciate you joining us on a Tuesday, right before Fourth of July. Probably a good day off for you, so we won't keep you too long. So I'm just going to put out there. When's the dinner? Like, when all of us get together, we're going to cook. Wait, let me say this. You guys can cook. I'll go in the DJ booth. I'll get the DJ booth. Well, first of all, I'll go to the bar, drink some Nearest, and then I go to DJ. I'll be everywhere. But we got to figure out when's the dinner. How can we all get together? But most importantly, how can we, pass this on to people that look like us, sound like us, talk like us, and ensure that we keep this industry going.
Well, I think in these conversations, that's what we talk about all the time, is having open conversations. Like, again, us talking now. Remember when you guys came into the restaurant, you guys got to talk to Cecilia a little bit and understand the what and the why behind her. And, you got to see the experience of what we do and why we do, and have a conversation. It's like, how do you write a cookbook? This is your second one. Stephan, you travel a lot, but you also understand dynamics and being able to cook and mentor and being able to come in strong with your Haitian food. Um, I think that's a big piece. We have those open door conversations about doing the dinner. I'll take the hit on that. I've been crazy busy, but we gonna get
Oh,
on
come
the
on
email.
now. I mean,
We gonna get on the email, and we
I
gonna
got,
throw
I
some
got,
dates
I
out
got
there.
the,
We
I
gonna
got
make
the
this
gold
happen.
star. I got the gold star on crazy busy. I'm the first one to say the government cloning program. I will be the first one to sign up for it. So you gotta explain that to me. Go
So
ahead, Stefan.
piggybacking on what Chef Todd has just brought up to the table here. There's nothing more exciting that I would get to do, but to cook beside you two guys. But we have a date that we need to set. Seeing both of you together,
Yeah.
not only to have a conversation about the book, but conversation about us, conversation about collaboration. Because one of the things that I keep stressing about is the fact that we I don't think we're still not collaborating as much as we should. But that's going to be a different topic. But seeing both of you on the same stage conversation, food, Chef Todd's food, Chef Lamar's food, and then maybe a little. I'll throw in a little Haitian bone.
Oh God.
I'll throw in a little
Oh my
Haitian bone
goodness.
somewhere around there
Oh man, dude,
to liven
don't
it up,
be setting us up
because
for
you
this.
know it is the city
Don't be setting us
of
up for this, man.
it is
Come
the city
on.
of Baptiste de Sable. So
Yeah.
I gotta
Oh
throw a
my
little Haitian
goodness.
somewhere in the
You
mix
know.
between the two of you.
So
Um,
let me just say this. So after we left you, we went to this other place, and I felt like I was in Haiti. I could even I had to listen to what people were saying so I can get a very little understanding of what the words are being taught. I mean, he walks into the room and this dude here, come on,
Chef Lamar. Now, mind you, that this man has been to Haiti. Okay, he's
man.
been to Haiti, and we'll have to figure out a way to get you there too. Okay,
Oh
because
goodness.
it is an experience.
I'm with it.
But in the meantime, City of Chicago does belong. It was founded by a Haitian brother, so I got to come in and
Okay.
throw a bone
Uh,
somewhere between these two superstars. Okay, and say, hey, the Haitian guy is right here. You know what I'm saying?
oh my goodness.
No, but
Anyway.
seriously, being around you two, I think it's going to be an incredible moment, an incredible evening because of the people that you guys are. Really, meeting you, Chef Lamar, and having been privileged enough not only to be part of his book, Chef Todd's, but also to have become, he's become my brother. So um, I
That's
can't
awesome.
wait to see you two together doing the do and blowing up the city of Chicago. Two Chicago brothers doing the thing.
There's a couple other ones. We gotta get Eric, we got everybody in here. But Chef Lamar, we appreciate your time, man. Join us on Roots Heart Soul podcast. On Heritage Radio Network. Tell everyone, please, where they can find you besides just in the restaurant. Where can they find you on social media? Even though he's talking about I'm not on social media, and every time I come on, it's like hey,
Right.
over charcoal, over fire, over
But he
flame,
certainly can take great pictures. He can
right?
certainly take great pictures because every picture I've seen on social
Right.
media about him has
Right.
been like like a fashion show.
All right. So so where can everyone find you, my friend?
So on IG, you can find me chef_LJM. On Facebook is J Moore. Twitter, same thing, or X, whatever you want to call it. And TikTok, same thing, LJM. LJM all the way.
LJM all the way. So I gotta come back to Chicago. I was there.
Well, we're gonna
Gloria.
come and cook. We're gonna put that together for
Yeah,
sure.
we gotta put
Exactly.
that together.
And
But
make sure that I'm there.
Absolutely.
maybe I don't know. He of course he's going to be there. Uh, I got to go over to Calumet Fishery. I got to because they just reopened. So I got to
Yep.
go back over there. I
Yep.
got to go to Limbs, give me some barbecue. Pizza I got to get, but more importantly, we got to come see you. So LJM, Lamar, hey, bro, we appreciate your time and
Likewise.
great talking to you, and we'll see you soon, my friend.
You bet, man. Look forward to it.
All
Chef
right,
Jay,
thank you, thank you.
always a pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh, Stephan, my friend, boy, the Haitian connection, boy. Like
The
this
Asian connection, huh?
guy. I mean, this guy Lamar is such a fabulous chef, man. I mean, really, and he just understands food and people so well. And it's really great to catch him on a well deserved day off. It's really
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
is the 4th of July today, isn't it?
Well, it's 2 days. Today's the second, or is hell, we on chef time. We never know. We don't stop working. So we're on chef time. So it could be the second, the fourth, the sixth, the eighth. It doesn't matter.
Jeez.
So how's the restaurant going for you? You opening down in Orlando. You getting those things
Well,
open again.
I'm getting the team prepared to cook, the menu that I shared with you.
Mm-hmm.
We went through every dish so far except for my desserts. We're gonna do that tomorrow. And then Thursday we're going to do another run. Friday we're doing a tasting for the servers, the serving staff.
Right.
And then Saturday maybe we'll do a tasting for some private people. I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. And then and as soon as the city gives us the green light, we're ready to open.
I don't think people like you just described a whole week of just training, planning, all these things. I don't think that people really understand. Like all of a sudden, we just turn on the light switch, and we start cooking, or like,
It's a magic wand, man.
you
Don't you
know.
know it's a magic wand? Don't you
You
know
know,
it's a damn
I,
magic wand?
I mean, when you think about it, like you and I are a big fan of food TV, and Emeril Lagasse will always say, "Don't treat the stove like on and off switch," and people think that we really just walk in, so we're going to open these restaurants and things like that, but there's so much training, so much sacrifice, and one thing Lamar, like you could just see, like you know, that dude today just like he made that happen for us, and you could tell it was a sacrifice because he needed to recharge, get himself ready, together for the rest of the service for the rest of the week.
I think recharging is extremely important, man. I was reading this old article last night, as a matter of fact. I was going through my the photos and stuff on my computer, and Michelin star chef gives up, um, you
Yeah.
know, quits out the kitchen to for because he is he's putting more value on his mental health and on
Mm,
his on his quality of life.
mm.
And I was reading that article, and it hit me. I'm like, how important it is just to take a break. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, even though I was still working,
Of
but
course.
the guy that was supposed my driver didn't pick me up yesterday, because I gave everybody off, that he thought I was going to be off too.
Mm,
So, and then when I called him, he's like, but chef, I thought you were going to be off. I said, you think I'm going to be off when there's so much planning to do, when there's ordering to do, when there's that to do, when there's this to do. But then, I took a break. I decided
mm.
to take a break, just to chill, watch a couple movies, and just decompress. And it felt so good to do that.
I
Just
mean,
to
I mean,
say,
I mean, let me talk about this though. And you brought up something about the break and decompressing, and what the public doesn't understand, in the sense that, like the Bear is out, on Netflix, and going for these Michelin stars and everything like that. And the public is always ask me, "Hey, do you watch the Bear? Do you watch this? Do you watch that?" And that's like PTSD. Like I can't watch those shows. Like I live this every single day. I wake up with food on my mind. I go to bed with food on my mind. I have many different nicknames. Captain Champagne. Start a day with a shot of espresso and a glass of champagne, because you got to get the day going. You got to celebrate that you woke up. Those things like that. I don't think that people really understand that not only are we business people, because we are here to make money. Not only, it's a lot of times we're here to make money for other people, but we're also artists. And like Lamar is an artist, Fabio, Fabrice, who we had on, last week, is an artist. Amy, who helped write Roots Heart Soul with me, is an artist. I don't think that people understand the mental toll. And I really want to give you a shout out on this though, because for the last episode, you really talked about mental health, and June being Mental Health Awareness. You really spoke about that, so I really appreciate you bringing that to them. But as an artist, how do we, wrap up this conversation and appreciation, Chef Lamar as an artist, appreciate Chicago as one of the most architectural, beautiful cities. What can we give advice to the artists as we wrap this conversation up?
my only advice is to find ways to never lose that passion,
Mm,
never lose that. I'm going to tell you one of the things that I do a lot is in contrary to you, I am always browsing social media when I have the time to see what other people are doing,
mm,
and I watch these TV shows with the competitions because I would have loved to be able to be in one of them just to see how I measure.
mm.
Do I measure to these guys that are cooking on a whim, trying to put something together on a whim, and the pressure of the competition? Would I be able to handle that? Even though I certainly can handle the heat of the kitchen, with 300-400 people in the room. That has never phased me. But can I handle that competition? Um, so I watch a lot of when I get the time, I watch some of these shows, but I also watch the plating of it, what everybody's doing, the composition of the plates.
Correct.
What's the how is it how does it all come together to give the person that's going to have your food a complete experience? My I won't call him my boss, but he's the owner of the restaurant. He came to me the other day, and for the very first time, he said to me, "You're a genius." And I said, and I said, and I said, "What do you mean?" He says to me, "Yeah, man, I watched you for I watched you on the line teaching these kids how to put the dishes together, and the way you talk to them, and the way you go step by step with them, and the way you are. I never thought of you that way."
Man, I mean, it's almost like the Columbus moment where where people just, oh my goodness, there's three words that I will abolish from the dictionary: the N word, uh, uh, discover, you know,
Oh boy.
you know, and the other one
But I was flattered
I
though.
can't say I
But I
can't
have to say I
say.
was flattered.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, but the thing is that he wouldn't hired you to begin with if you weren't a genius already. Like, but what it was a more validation for him that he's actually putting his money in the right place. That's the way I'm gonna take it. And please don't get mad at Stefan, for me saying it because but I just have no filter anymore. Because I'm just telling the truth that people hire us to do us because they can't do it themselves. So, Stefan, we got to wrap up here. Roots Heart
Yes,
Soul
sir.
podcast. On the great Heritage Radio Network. There's so many people. I mean, this season is going to be crazy. I mean, we're
Listen,
just rolling.
I am so super excited about the season, and our guests that are going to be on the show. I can't wait to have a conversation with Clay,
Oh,
the
Clay. Oh,
photographer
goodness.
of the book.
All
He
right.
is such an immensely talented person. I can't wait to have a conversation with Colleen. I can't Black Food Folks. I can't wait. Who's also part of James Beard Foundation. If I may say so. Um, but there are so many people, and your friend from Louisiana, Zella. I can't.
Zella.
That
Well, so
that
Zella's
is
from
going to be
Chicago
a
too.
conversation
I mean, she's
for
from
the
Shy,
ages.
so yeah. And
So
I don't have this person on the list, but we got to get Nicole Taylor, who started with HRN with Hot Grease, who the first time. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this, Stefan. When I first time went to New York as a chef, right, and trying to get media to come there, and I can tell you, I was sat in a room with some of the most influential people that behind the scenes that I can't say here, but when no one would cover me in New York, Therese Nelson and Nicole Taylor showed up for me.
then
So
that's
so
without saying that. That is
so
without saying. That is
like
without saying that we got to get them
I'm
on.
saying I'm saying those two. I owe great gratitude because there's no book deal, there's no this, there's no that without New York media. Even though I love Chicago, and those two showed up for me, it helped put me on the map. So wrap us up, Stephan.
Then I'm going to tell you,
Yeah,
it goes without saying that we need to have them on.
yeah.
Because I think conversations with them is going to be immensely a big learning experience. But I think we also need to bring the person that we mentioned earlier in this conversation.
Go ahead, tell it.
Hey, the Uncle Nearest, baby.
So I'm over here tipping over here. I know we live, but I always have my glass. Uncle Nearest here.
Uncle Nearest, baby. We gotta have her on, man, because I think she is a queen, a warrior. This is a story worth telling.
I think we're all connected enough to make that happen. I'm just grateful for everyone tuning in today. It's right before 4th of July, Independence Day, and despite what we all might say, we're all Americans, we're all here. Roots, Heart, Soul started in West Africa, told the story to tell the story of our influence of the Americas. I wish everyone a great holiday. I know Stephan wish everyone a great holiday.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Heritage Radio Network, the great fundraiser. Shout out to Fabrice and Tico that showed up at the great fundraiser for Heritage Radio Network this past week. And we're just grateful for all. And we'll see everyone at, a week from today, right?
A week from today. Stay tuned.
All right.
For the next episode of Roots, Hearts,
and Soul, my friend.
Soul. This is Chef Stephan with my partner, Chef Todd Richards. We bid you good night. Happy holidays. Happy 4th of July. We'll see you next week.